It's your boy 50 Shakes of Whey, and we are back with another off-season workout. Today we're focusing on lower body. I'm going to bring you into my personal lower body off-season workout, show you again how it is most optimal to train through a period where you're recovering. You just came out of an aggressive fat loss phase or contest prep like myself. Sit back and enjoy the show. Alrighty, so let's talk about calf training. So the biggest mistake that I see with most people that are training calves is that they'll usually just throw it in at the end of the exercise along with abs, and they're not really training with a lot of intent. And that's why, probably the biggest reason why most people don't really have good calves is that they just don't simply prioritize them in their training split. So in terms of the lower body, the main things that I want to improve upon are my calves and my quads, particularly having more separation, building up that rectus femoris muscle, having more separation in between the vastus lateralis, so on and so forth. So we're prioritizing it as the first exercises of the workout. The second thing that I see that is a real problem with calf training is that most people also ego lift when it comes to the actual exercise. So they're not going full range of motion. You rarely see people getting that full stretch on the way down, coming on the way up, not bouncing, not trying to muscle it up, really emphasizing quality reps, control movements to really get the most out of each and every rep. Although we are giving it everything that we got with each and every set, we're still leaving about 2 repetitions in reserve, not going totally to failure, but the stimulus is significant enough to give you a good push and stimulate muscle growth. So, with our quad training, what we're actually doing, since my knees are not 100%, they're still pretty messed up from contest prep, all the high intensity work that we did, all the volume work, all the wear and tear from competing, they're still not 100%. So what we're doing is that we're actually going with a pre-fatiguing method with the leg extensions, getting a really hard stimulus, fatiguing out the quads to then build up to everything else, so that we don't have to go as hard with squatting with things that put a lot of pressure on the knees. Listen, when you're training, you gotta take your ego out of the game. Now, do I feel comfortable warming up with 25s on each side? No, I'm self-conscious of that. I know I don't look cool, but I'm not gonna get myself hurt. I'm not gonna put my ego, and my pride at the forefront of my training, put some heavy weight on here when I'm not ready for it, and then get injured while I'm training. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm happy with my old man warm-up routine. I go light as possible, and then I progressively go up in weights until I feel 100% ready to push maximally. Yo, crazy part is about this whole bodybuilding journey is that time is just such an underrated variable in your whole success and journey within your physique development. I remember when I first started bodybuilding, I first started training in general, my legs were my best body part by far, and my back was my weakest. Funny enough, I actually was taken out in high school when I used to play high school basketball. I was taken out because I had back spasms, had to sit out the whole year, and I like furiously trained and strengthened my back to the point where right now my back is actually my strongest body part out of everything. And the critique that I've gotten from judges and most people as far as my physique is that although it's balanced, my legs are now the weak point. So it's funny how things can come full circle. You know, if you really think that you've achieved your maximum ceiling, your genetic potential, give yourself a lot more years and you're gonna realize that's certainly not the case. On the Angel-Ariel one, oh, that's good too. Look at me so fat talking about cookies. I'm in the gym squatting. That's where my mind is at. That's where my mind is always at. No judgment. Nick asked me if I wanted to say something before the set, and I do. I want to pray to Jesus. I want to pray to Allah. I want to pray to all of the heavenly deities to protect me. No, it's not that serious. The weight, again, is pretty moderate for this set. I'm gonna go balls to the wall, but you gotta train very smart. If I got bad knees, I'm not gonna be pushing really heavy weight to make it even worse. I'm not gonna be able to recover as well. So what I'm doing is that I'm taking advantage of the concept that we talked about last video, which is you can grow with multiple set of rep ranges. You can grow from 3 rep ranges, like 3 rep max, to upwards of like 20 to 25 reps. So right here, we're going higher repetitions, 15 reps. It's still gonna feel intense. I'm still gonna feel it a lot, and I'm gonna position my quads and my feet so that I can really feel that tension in my quads, but we're training intelligently, not just with brute force. So I think we tend to forget also, if your goal is to build an impressive physique, remember there's a difference between bodybuilding and weightlifting. And I personally have made this mistake a lot of times where I'm just thinking, okay, a squat is a squat, a rack pull or a deadlift is just that, a bench press is just a bench press. No, we want to take advantage of equipment, of foot positioning, of different angles to really target the muscle groups that we want so that we build upon that physique, that X-frame, that foundation that we're trying to build. So, weak point on my quads besides the rectus femoris is building up that quad sweep, that lateral, that vastus lateralis right here on the quads. So how do I do that? I'm gonna do that by having a closer grip with my feet positioning right here so that tension is right here on the outer quads. I can't take advantage of lifting really heavy weight. So what's the next thing? I can put my muscle group through maximum tension. All right, remember that's one of the 3 drivers of building muscle. We got mechanical damage, metabolic stress, and mechanical tension, the lengthening of the muscle. So going all the way down, getting that full range of motion, and then coming up all the way up, taking up all that space for maximum muscle development. Alrighty, so taking injuries into account, your own personal preferences, your own personal weak points, you gotta assess which exercises are gonna work best for you. So I love deadlifting, I love rack pulls, but my lower back is really not in a great position and neither are my knees. So it wouldn't be smart to do a whole lot of deadlifting because it's gonna affect those areas. So instead, we're going with the hyperextension or back extension exercise where I'm still getting that emphasis on my lower back, but I'm taking out the knees and the rest of the posterior chain of my lower body out of the movement so I can still progressively hit that lower back, but also remain injury free. All right, so I went down in weight. That first set was a little too heavy for me. I'm not here to impress anybody, all right? I'm here for my own fitness goals. I'm not here to look cool, to impress anybody. I'm here for my own goals. So there's no need to go heavy and get myself hurt. Stay in your lane. So we're down to one hamstring movement. I personally only need one hamstring movement because my hamstrings, funny enough, and again, this is why bodybuilding is full circle. This is why, guys, you gotta take time to really grow your physique. Spend time with your physique, spend time with training, spend time dieting correctly. Let all of that time accumulate and you're really gonna see what your potential is. So at the start of my fitness journey, my hamstrings were weak. Guess what? Now they are more dominant than my quads. I think in general though, what really separates the men from the boys, so to speak, what separates a true competitor is somebody has full leg development, not just quads. I see that all the time. I see a lot of competitors that they got good quads, good quad sweep, but I feel like the ones that really do well with shows are the ones that have hamstrings. After all, they say shows are won from the back, and the hamstrings definitely contribute to that look. So I actually have to come clean on something, which is for the first time ever in my whole bodybuilding career, fitness journey, what I like to call it, because really I've only been seriously bodybuilding, you know, as of recent. I would say this is the first time ever that I have felt pressure to look good year round. And I never understood it before I competed, why people wouldn't just take the time to bulk, put on some fat, make improvements. But now, since I'm getting more well recognized for competing, for my physique, I feel more added pressure to always have abs, to always be in shape. And what people don't understand is that that look of being sub 5% body fat, of being competition shredded, is not an attainable look that you can have year round. And really, the only time period where you're going to make significant improvements, where you're actually going to build upon your body, build upon your physique, is during the off season, when you put on some fat, when you're less lax on your diet and you're not looking so aesthetically pleasing. So for those of y'all who are feeling that same pressure too, remember, you're not doing this for anybody else but yourself. You're not getting into bodybuilding or trying to get in shape to impress people. Remember that you're doing it for you. And if you gotta take a step back, put on some fat, do a bulk, make improvements to look overall better, then so be it, do it. And don't feel pressured that you have to look great year round, because ultimately if you do, you're not gonna improve at all. And the next time that you go for a cut, or the next time if you're a competitor that you step on stage, you're gonna look the same, you know, and that's not why we compete. That's not why we do this. We do this to become the best version of ourselves, so. So I think one of the key ways that you mentally can get through a bulk and cope with the fact that you're not physically looking your best during a lean gains phase, a bulking phase, is trying to fall in love with different aspects of your fitness journey. So when you're cutting, the main motivation is, okay, your physique is getting leaner and leaner, you're starting to see more detail, more definition, and it's kind of the opposite when you're bulking. When you're bulking, you got to realize that you're not going to be looking your best physically, but instead, the main motivation should come from your performance. Okay, knowing that every single time, or the more that you stay in a bulk, the more that you commit to it, your performance is going to get better and better. Every time you go to the gym, you see your lifts going up, that should motivate you to stay in it. You know, because the reverse is true when you're cutting. When you're cutting, you might look the best, but your performance oftentimes isn't really good because you're in a calorie deficit. So I think being able to shift your mindset really will help you with the whole longevity of fitness, you know, because if you're just trying to cut year round, you can get kind of stale. You can kind of get demotivated, you know, because again, it's so hard to maintain that crisp conditioning year round. So learn how to cope with these different targets, with this different focus throughout your fitness journey, and I think that it will be a lot easier to you know, cycle through these mentally tougher periods when you're physically not looking your best. So last exercise that we got on here, that was, I gotta admit, it was not part of my programming. I'm sorry, Coach Jeff. Normally, you should follow the game plan that you have to the letter. But me, being somebody that has a little bit of experience and that is also more in tune with their physique, I know that there are certain parts about my body that I have to improve that maybe somebody else might not be as in tune with. So one of the things that I really also have to improve upon my own physique that I haven't really hit so far is more of that inner thigh, okay? More of that inner thigh. So we're gonna be just adding in one exercise. I'm not adding in 3 or 4, getting totally off program. I'm just adding in one bonus exercise to target that area so that more so from a mental standpoint, I feel good about what I'm doing. Again, this is not fluff work. So many people do this exercise, they're not even really trying. They don't really go heavy. I'm going all out. Even on a quote-unquote detail exercise like this, that gets viewed as not important. It's important to me. I'm trying to have fully developed quads from every angle. One more. Whew. That wasn't light. Alrighty, this is what a good lower body session looks like. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Listen, we're gonna be coming back with weekly videos. I really wanna bring you in on everything that I'm doing in the off season until we compete the next time that we get on stage. So stay tuned for more videos. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton. This is your boy 50 Shakes of Whey, and signing off. Bam.